Almost. How is everybody? Oh,
Good. We're doing great.
I thought I lost you guys for a second. I'm getting some lights so you guys can actually see me. Sorry about the time mix up. I don't know what happened there.
Oh, no worries. Life happens. We appreciate you giving your time to us today.
It's my pleasure. Am I correct in my thinking that I'm talking to a bunch of Y peers?
So we are Keller Williams of Central PA.
Okay.
Most of us here are independent agents.
Okay.
Just looking for any tips that you can provide. I was explaining to them that you have a very large, successful team in California. And I said, so if this woman can keep her work-life balance in check, like we can definitely score some good tips from you today for sure.
So let me tell you guys a little bit about me, about the figurehead that's going to be talking at you guys for the next hour. So my name's Nikki Miller. For those that don't know me, I have a sales team that runs all through California. We cover now almost every county in California, which is very large, as many of you know. And I've been a team leader. I am on the board of directors of KWKC. I'm an instructor for throughout KW. I'm a coach. I'm an investor. I own several businesses, some real estate related, some not. And I always say, most importantly, I'm a student, just like you guys, perpetually. And my goal is to constantly understand how I can make more money while spending less time and with less stress. And that's really what I am constantly in pursuit of. And so I'm going to be sharing with you guys, especially how this class came to fruition. I actually wrote it when I was on maternity leave because I'm also a new mom. And I sort of had this aha that like life was not going to look the same for me anymore. And as stupid as it might sound to all of you, I just hadn't really planned for that. Like I thought that I would have this baby and life would go forth with like as it continuing as it was before. And I was so wrong. So I had a very distinct aha moment where I said, this is going to need to look different for me. And I'm to get extremely intentional about how I move through the world and how I achieve what it is that I'm wanting to achieve. So my first ask of today is that everybody, if you could, turn your cameras on. Because I always say it's such a privilege to get to have the Zoom world now, because there's so many places that I've had the ability to come and train that I might not have otherwise. And yet my one ask, your payment for the day, is to get your guys' cameras on, because I am not a fan of talking to blank screens. And I can't see your facial expressions and the light bulbs go off, or like see you like, I don't get what she's saying. So if we could get those cameras on, I would very much appreciate it. So the number one question that I get asked, like the number one question that everyone pulls me aside when we're in person at mega camps or family reunions, like, and corners me to ask, is how do I achieve this life of my dreams? How do you do what you do? And I've read so many books and been to so many seminars. And often they present you with this like theory or plan or complicated roadmap that you have to have a PhD to understand. And I've come to realize that it's really quite simple. Success is just very, very, very simple. And notice throughout today, you're going to hear me say it's simple. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? Everybody would have it. And the truth is, it's not easy. The world is not set up for us to succeed, not in the way that we need to move through the world in order to do so. And frankly, most people aren't in the mindset space that they need to be in order to succeed. So you're constantly working around a schedule that's not set up for you to succeed and against minds that are not in the same place as you. So I recognize that thankfully inside Keller Williams, we have a lot of people with the right mindset. And yet I understand that it's going to be simple, not easy. And my goal today is to simplify it even more. And I believe that it can be broken down into and implemented in a couple of easy steps. And that's what today is all about. Because I believe that if you're here, I believe that if you chose to be on this webinar today, of all the places that you could be, you know, that we're kindred souls, and that you want more out of this life, and you're willing to do what it's going to take in order to get there, and that's why you're here. And you know, you're constantly asking yourself in these words or others, how can I squeeze a little bit more out of this thing called life? And I've come to find that it's by living on purpose. And after years of coaching people, thousands of people, I've come to find that most people fight success. And that might sound odd to you, but most people fight success. We are all born enabled to greatness. And if we don't get there, it's because we got in our own way somewhere. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that I'm not going to be teaching you guys anything today. If you have an insight, it means that there's something that was already happening inside of you that I only helped to switch on. So understand that the answers that you need, everything that you need already lives in you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to give you the answer. I'm not suggesting anything throughout the day to day that you don't already know. And so my goal when I'm working with people, and I don't even call it teaching anymore, because I'm not really teaching anyone anything. I'm just helping them to wake up what's already inside of them. My goal is to uncover the layers of lies that we've been told about success, and to just wake up that inner voice within you. And if you're like, oh my God, what did I sign up for? It's okay, breathe through it. We're gonna get through this today. It's gonna be great. Because I understand that where you are now, who you are now, is simply an accumulation of the habits that you've created, the choices that you've made, and most importantly, the actions that you've taken or not taken up until this point. Your outside world, so what you guys see outside of you, is simply a manifestation of how you've led yourself inside. So the best way to change our world is to look inward and get better at leading ourselves, which is what we're talking about today. It's funny because I teach leaders all over the world now, and they always ask me, how do I get better at leading people? And my answer is the same every time. I say, you get better at leading yourself, because you can't learn how to lead other people without knowing how to lead yourself. And living a life of intention is about getting really good at leading you. Because the fact of the matter is, I've never met a great leader, and I don't mean an okay leader. I don't mean a leader who's a leader just because they got put in that position. I mean a great leader. We all know them. We've all met them. And I've never met one who was exceptional, who wasn't incredible at leading themselves. Because I believe that most of us have two lives. The life that we live, and then the unlived life within us. And today is all about waking up that unlived life within you. Who do you want to be? What is that unlived life within you? The one that keeps whispering to you, if only you would have the courage to listen. And the people that we choose to follow in this life are the ones that we know who are living that life that calls to us too, right? And that's what today is all about, how to listen and then take the right steps to go live that life. And I'm going to be walking you through 3 very basic principles for living your life on purpose, a few simple strategies to implement them. You guys can use them tomorrow, today, better yet, right now. And again, you're going to hear me say throughout the day, simple, not easy. This will take practice. It will take courage, and you will fail. And you have to make the decision to keep trying. Not every day will be perfect. Release yourself from that, right? You guys are talking to a recovering perfectionist. It's the lowest possible standard. You guys are going to mess up, and that's okay. And the goal is to just get a little bit better every single day. So I'm not usually a PowerPointer, but in the couple of times that I've taught this class, they shared that they needed some type of visual cue. So here we go. Don't judge me for how ugly it is, because I hate them. One sec. There we go. You guys see that? Uh-oh. Should I have mentioned that this is going to be participatory? Feel free.
Got it.
Next on. Okay, good. Okay, so here's some class prep. Today's about you. Like, for an hour, you got this. Turn everything else off. Like, turn your email off. Put your phone upside down. You're going to be okay. The world is going to be okay. Turn it off for an hour. If you're going to be here, you might as well make it count. Right? You guys are going to spend an hour with me. You might as well make it count. Don't do 15 things at once, because then you're failing at a bunch of things. Just fail at one thing at a time. Fail fantastically at your business right now and just be here, right? But don't fail at this and fail at your business because you're splitting your attention, okay? If you're going to spend the next hour, just be here totally. And if you can't, get off. Otherwise, it's a waste of your time. Have something in front of you to take notes. This is going to be interactive. This is going to be interactive. It will be very boring if you guys don't participate. Turn on your camera and your mic. I always say it's okay if you don't put your makeup on in the morning. I found out that Zoom has a filter, which I have used extensively over the course of the last 450 days in California, which is how long we've been shut down. Don't skip any steps. You have to do every single one of these in order for this to make sense. And my last request is, if you guys want to share on, I'm going to put it in the chat box. If you guys want to share and take photos or whatever on and put it on social media, I'm cool with it. You can tag me, you can video anything that I'm doing. Just please don't record when someone else is talking. Every class that I do, I don't like teach people at this phase of my career how to do like open houses. It's just not, it's not something I enjoy teaching anymore. I'm not teaching anyone how to do the perfect open house. I only teach these things, which is how to become the best version of yourself. And so with that, we sometimes will have some very personal conversations in these Zoom rooms or in these physical rooms when we get to be back in person, hopefully soon. So I just ask that if you guys are gonna take photos or record anything, that you just do it of me. I don't, my stories are out there and you won't be telling on me, but I just want to protect the privacy of everybody that's in the class. Fair? Everybody good? Still have everybody. That's good.
Yes.
Okay. So there's 3 simple principles for living your life of intention. And like I said, I call it your life on purpose. Because here's the success trap, what I call the success trap. Everybody who's sitting on this Zoom right now, everybody who's a real estate agent has, in my opinion, a greater capacity for success than the average Joe. Right? Entrepreneurship calls to you. You're willing to do what it takes in order to get there. Like you probably have a better set of skills naturally than a lot of other people in the world. Now, here's the challenge. Because of that, even if you don't try that hard, your life will probably still be great. Let me say that again. Even if you don't try that hard, because you all have this natural set of skills, your life will probably, from other people's perspective, will probably still be great. But if it's not intentional, it'll still be less than it could have been. If it's not on purpose, it'll still be less than it could have been. And my bet would be that it'll still be a shadowed version of that unlived life within you, who you really want to be in this life, if you had the courage to go after it. So as we talk through this, understand that I'm not talking about how you can live an average life, right? I'm talking about how to live that unlived life within you, a life on purpose, a big life, whatever that means to you, by the way. And the way that we do it is we get clear, we get real, and get moving. And you might be saying like, that's it. That's what I signed up for today. I believe that complexity is the enemy of execution. And like I said, there are very simple strategies in order for you to move forward. So my first step is get clear. In other words, what do you want out of this life? What do you want out of this life? Because if you can't articulate it, then the world can't support you in helping to create it. Right? So what is that unlived life within you? And here's the fun of getting to do this on Zoom. No one's over your guys' shoulder, as far as I know. If they are, it's creepy. Tell them to get out of the room, right? Like make this about you. No one is over your shoulder. No one's going to see your notes. You can choose to share some of it, all of it, a little bit of it, none of it. I'd hope you'll share some of it. And yet no one's going to see your notes today. So just write down when we get to this part, what that unlived life within you is really. Like, what is it? Because if you don't write it down, if you can't articulate it, then the world can't support you in helping to achieve it. And you'll know, because there will be a feeling inside of you of betrayal, be it small, but you'll know that voice in the back of your head will say, this isn't it. This isn't everything that you want. So if that voice starts talking to you, you got to write down what it really is. What is that unlived life? The one that you've been afraid to say out loud, but is really everything that you want. And I'm not talking about your business goals here, by the way. That might be encompassed in it, but I'm not talking about the goals that you wrote at the beginning of the year and then stuffed in a drawer and haven't looked at since, or at best are working with a coach and maybe checking on it like once a month. I'm not talking about those. I'm asking you who you want to be. And as a result of becoming that person, what you might also achieve. I'm not asking you what you want to do. I'm asking you who you want to be. And as a result of becoming that person, what you might also achieve. So this is step one. Take a minute and write down what you want out of this life. So I'm sure we have a bunch of different types of learners on here. So I'm going to share with you guys how I do this and how I see it when I'm doing this exercise. So I do this once in the morning and once at night. And in the morning, I visualize it because that works for me. So I visualize what that perfect life looks like. Who are you with? What do you see around you? What are you doing every day? How are you moving through the world? What does your house look like? What type of work are you going to? What are you doing? Where are you? Right? So just write down, if you can see it, write down what you see. Don't make it more complicated than that. I'm asking who we want to be. As a result of becoming that person, what we might also achieve. How do you move through the world? What do people say about you when you're not around? Just do a free write for a second. I'm gonna give you guys like a minute to do this. And by the way, not to decide is to decide. Life has no purpose save the one we give it. So if you're choosing not to decide, you are still making a decision. I hate to be the one to break it to you. The time's going to pass either way. We may as well spend it in pursuit of something more. Give you guys like 30 more seconds. So if you're still writing, keep writing. This is going to make a little bit more sense as I move through this with you. But we use this both in the morning and at night as our compass. Because here's what I know. If our actions are not in alignment with who we say we want to be, and as a result of becoming that person, what we might also achieve, then we will just not become that person. Right? So I use this every day as my compass to tell me, am I going the right direction? Right? Am I going the right direction? In other words, is how I'm moving through the day every day in alignment with what I'm saying I want. So what that might look like is if I say, if who I want to be is the most exceptional leader for my family, for my people, in my business world, in any world that I'm interacting in, right? If that's who I want to be, well, then if I'm going to look backward on the day and say, well, I didn't handle that conversation like a great leader would, or I didn't interact in that moment, I didn't show up as my best self in that moment like a great leader would. So now I need to know, now I know what I need to work on in order to get to where I want to be. You guys following? Okay, cool. So what do we write down for step one? Get clear. You don't have to tell me the whole thing. Give me a snippet or an aha that you had. Go and unmute yourself and share, throw it in the chat box. I'm assuming that you're all typing so ferociously. That's why I haven't seen anything yet.
I'm going to agree with you. So I just to try to get this ball rolling on sharing here, and I'm looking at all of you because I want one of you to share other than me this whole time. But I just wrote down, financial freedom. And I envision my life having, my backyard the way I want it. Like I want my house to feel like an oasis. So like when I wake up every day, I'm in my dream vacation spot. And then just being able to provide for my two daughters. Not that I don't want to teach them financial responsibility, I do, but I also want to be able to provide them things when they want it. Like I don't want to have to say no because I can't afford it. So that's something that I always think about every day as I'm trying to build that life.
I love that. So Brittany, you're going to see how being so clear on this helps you with the next couple of steps. So thank you so much for sharing. What else did you guys write for step 1, get clear?
Come on, James.
I'm not a caller.
How'd you know I was ready to mute? Well, I wrote down just building a great and successful and integral business. Also put down being able to pay for my kids' college tuition without them having to stress about loans and
I love that.
grants and things like that. And then also being able to retire comfortably and travel the world with my wife. So
Love that. I love that. This is so important to get clear on this in order to see how steps 2 and 3 work together. So thank you so much, James, for sharing. Thank you, Mark, who said as a coach, help people become the best versions of themselves across the globe, help people achieve wealth, equal opportunities to people that would not otherwise have an opportunity. I love that. In other words, the way I see that, Mark, is when I visualize how I find talent, I think of myself as like, you guys ever seen those people on the beach? Maybe it's like a California thing where they take out the sticks that check for like metal and they find coins. You guys ever seen that? So they had them all over. Like you can go to the beach early in the morning and someone's out there and I'm sure they find change. I've like talked to them before and they do. This guy was like, I made like $50 the other day of just finding change in the sand. And that's when I visualize how I find talent. That's myself. I'm constantly walking around with that stick attracting metal. And here's what's really cool. When you are crystal clear about who you want to be, people who are in alignment with your vision will come into your world. They want to be in business with people who are clear on who they are and where they're going, right? So getting clear on yourself will actually make finding talent and helping to align other people with opportunities even easier, right? All right, in the interest of time, we're gonna move on. Step 2 is get real. Step 2 is get real. So I understand that awareness is the greatest agent for change. And this may be the hardest one, by the way. This may be the hardest of all the steps, and yet it's the most important part of this recipe. The most important part of this recipe. So you're going to look at get clear, right? So whatever you guys wrote down for step 1, which is who do I want to be? And as a result of becoming that person, what I might also achieve. And then knowing the life that I want to live, am I showing up how I need to be? So this is going to be a hard conversation that we have to have with ourselves every single day, right? Based off what I wrote down for step 1, am I showing up how I need to be? So in other words, based off what I'm saying with my words that I want, are my actions in alignment? When you guys were growing up, did your parents ever say that to you? Like, your words don't matter. It's your actions I need to see. My mom used to say that to me all the time because I would say like, this is what I want. And then my actions would be completely out of alignment. And a lot of us don't grow out of that habit, right? I can't tell you guys how many people I've coached where they say, this is what I want. And I say, well, unfortunately, I don't believe you because your actions are far out of alignment with who you're saying you want to be or what you're saying you want to achieve, right? You can't skirt the work, right? And so the hardest part of this recipe is also the most important because this is where we get real with ourselves. Again, there's no one over your shoulder. There's no one who you need to have this conversation with unless you want to have an accountability partner. And yet, it's the most important part because it allows us to make micro changes as we move toward the goal. So what needs to change? How would that person show up? And how would they move through the day? Let me share with you guys how this step came to be and how important it's been in my life. So I have a girlfriend who I've known since we were, gosh, like 3 or 4. Like I've known her pretty much my whole life, and her whole family is extremely overweight. Like not a little bit overweight, not chubby, like very overweight, like dangerously overweight. And she was moving that direction. And she had, at the age of like 26, had the doctor say to her, "You are moving in a direction with your weight that you will live a very short life." And it was kind of a wake-up call for her. He said, typically people who are on your trajectory don't live much past 30. And it was kind of a wake-up call for her because she has a great life. She has a great life. She has a beautiful friends, a beautiful family, a career that she loves. And she said, I don't want to cut this short because of my habits. I don't want to cut this short because of my habits. And so I said to her, she came to me as sort of the resident advice giver in our friend group. And she said, what do I do? And I said, I don't think I can help you here. I think you got to figure this one out. Because I think that if I help, you're probably not going to do what you need to do. Because the truth is, you know, right? The truth is, you know what to do. The fact of the matter is, if any of us are trying to lose any amount of weight, whether it's 100 pounds or 5 pounds, we know what to do, right? We all go in search of this fad diet that'll make it a little bit easier, that'll cut the work, but you can't skirt the work. The recipe is easy. Work out more, don't eat crap, right? Like that's it. That's it. That's the secret. And so I said, you're coming to me looking for the easy button and I can't give it to you. So you're going to have to figure it out on your own. And so I didn't see her for about a year. She literally, we make fun of her to this day. She sort of like went into hiding. And about a year later, she called me and said, hey, do you want to get lunch? I was still living in Northern California at the time. And I said, yeah, I'd love to. I'm in town. Let's do it. And I got to the restaurant and I literally walked right by her. I didn't even recognize her because she had lost 100 pounds. And I asked the question that we all ask, which is, how did you do it? Like, tell me your secret. Tell me what you did. And she said, you know, it actually wasn't that hard. I just started asking myself every time I would eat something, what would a healthy person eat? That's it. That was her whole strategy. Every time she would eat, she would ask herself, what would a healthy person eat? So when we went to lunch that day at the burger joint, which I chose, I got a gross burger and she got a nice looking green salad because she asked herself, what would a healthy person eat? So in other words, she asked herself, who do I want to be? And how do I make my actions align with what I'm saying I want? You with me? And so I took this and I ran with it. And I said, oh my God, it's really that easy. It really is that easy. And so I started asking myself in every moment, who do I want to be as a result of becoming that person? What do I want to achieve? And are my actions in alignment with that? And here's what's cool. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't go to school for like how to lead people through a pandemic. I missed that day in class. And I was running one of the largest brokerages in LA when we went into quarantine. And by the way, I was also 6 months pregnant. And so I was very stressed, to say the least, about how I was going to lead these people through this and also bring a baby into the world at the same time. And frankly, I just had no idea. I just had no idea. Everybody was coming to me, their leader, as they should, for answers. And my beautifully articulated response to their question of what do we do was, I don't have a freaking clue. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on, right? But my answer was, I'm willing to find out. I'm willing to show up and figure it out. And so instead of asking myself a disempowering question of what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I started asking myself a more empowering question, which was, who do I want to be? And so when I thought about and envisioned the leader I would want to be, how she moves through things, the answers that she comes up with, how she interacts with people, I just asked myself, what would she do? I don't know the answer. My present self does not know the answer, but she does. How would she move through the world? How would she lead people through this? And I use this tactic all the time. When I don't know the answer, I think about who I want to be and I think to myself, what would she do? What would she do in this situation? How would the best version of myself handle this? And then I just go do that. It's that simple, guys. And then I just go do that. So At the end of every day and at the beginning, I do this twice a day. You can do it once. Just do it. Just do it. As long as you do it, I don't care whether you do it once or twice a day, just do it. I do it twice. So at the end of every day and at the beginning, based off where I want to go and what I'm saying, who I want to be, what I wrote down for Get Clear, did I show up today or yesterday in a way that got me closer? So in the morning, I'm visualizing who I want to be, and then I'm writing down my schedule based off that visualization. You with me? So my actions need to be in alignment with who I'm saying I want to be and what I'm saying I want to achieve. And then at the end of the day, I usually write down who I want to be and what I want to achieve. And then I ask myself the easiest question, which is how I showed up today in alignment with who I'm saying I want to be? You guys with me? And then I ask myself an even more important question. What needs to change today or tomorrow in order for me to be in better alignment with where I'm saying I want to go? So we're going to do this exercise together right now for step 2, get real. Based off that perfect life that I just visualized and wrote down, how do I need to show up? What needs to be different in my day-to-day habits and activities in order to move me closer to that? Based off who I want to be and where I want to go, am I showing up how I need to be right now? What's the one thing that needs to change today in order to move me closer to that vision? So a couple of you talked about financial freedom. Financial freedom is simply an outward manifestation of principles that we've learned inwardly about money, right? I love and steal Gary's quote often, is that if we choose not to learn about money, then we are choosing to be illiterate, right? As an adult, if we don't learn about money, we are choosing to be illiterate. And I very much believe that. So if I'm not where I want to be financially, what do I need to learn in order to get there? Who do I need to meet? What do my day-to-day actions need to look like? Am I in alignment with where I want to go? You guys with me? Go ahead and take a minute to write it down. I say often, there are no victims in the universe, only creators. And make no mistake, the event is not created by you. This pandemic was not created by us. But what is created is the degree to which it affects your life and the degree to which the event touches you and how you're going to choose to move through it. And this is where we can get very clear and focused about how we're going to move through any event, right? Give you guys about another minute to write this down. Sorry if you guys hear a little background noise. Today is our team meeting day. Give you guys about 30 more seconds to write this down.
Amazon bestsellers for May, starting with this digital.
All right, what did we write down for step 2, get real? What needs to change in order to bring you closer or in alignment with who you're saying you want to be?
I'll go again, I guess.
I said, you and I will have a one-on-one coaching session if no one else shares, so I'm happy to do it.
So I wrote down what you said about how would the best version of me do things? And that's not something you usually think about. So that was kind of eye-opening there. But after that, I wrote down being more effective at my lead generation and very strategic, putting together a very strategic system to capitalize on my strengths and leverage my opportunity areas.
I love that. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. What else did we write down for Get Real?
James, just to add to that, I think the fact that you're taking bold is perfect for that, 'cause it's definitely going to get your lead generation in gear. Because I think that's one of the toughest things. Like when we get in this business, we don't realize that we're getting in the lead gen business.
Well, James, for you, it's also about just making peace with the fact that it's going to be consistency, right? I share with people often, the agent who just commits to making one single contact a day, every single day, no matter what, will end up doing more contacts at the end of the year than the person who does 10 contacts consistently every other week, right?
Yep, that's so true.
So it's consistency over time, right? Consistency over quantity. I tell people often, I tell them myself as an agent, because you know what? I've been up on those stages and I hear these other people like, yeah, I pounded the phones for 3 years straight. And I'm like, oh, I did not do that, right? But what I did do was I committed to talking to 3 people every single day, every single day, every single day, no matter what. And the compound effect of those interactions is what turned my business into what it is today. It wasn't about 10 contacts a day until I burned myself out and didn't do it anymore. It was consistency over time. And to this day, I'm not even in our sales anymore. And to this day, I'm in the habit of making 3 contacts. I wake up in the morning and I come into my office, and the first thing I do is call through my, we call it our hot list, but the first thing I do is I call through the hot list, right? That's the first thing I do because I've been doing it for so long. The consistency is in my bones, right? What else did you guys write down for step 2, Get Real?
Mine goes along with James. You know, one thing that I've been really focused on the last year is improving my financial situation. So I made some pretty big sacrifices to pay off debt. And now I'm finally in the investing stage. So met with a financial advisor who's actually teaching a class for other agents for us tomorrow. But what I've realized is, you know, there's always the opportunity to still make more income, right? Like you can invest your money, but there's always ways to make more. And one thing that I've been afraid to do is really capitalize on profit share in KW and just blessing other agents in our area with KW services. And so I think starting with baby steps, like you said, instead of maybe looking at this massive list of 2,000 agents and being like, who do I call? Maybe just picking 3 a day.
Yeah, just a couple. Do 1 a day. That's all. It'll be more than if you just make this mountain huge in your head and never take action on it, right? Taking action is more important than anything else, right?
Yep, I love that.
And here's the cool thing, Brittany, for you. Take your girls who you want to teach about financial literacy, take them on the journey with you, right? I think sometimes for those of us that have kids, and I'm new to the job, right? My daughter's going to be one tomorrow, actually, is her birthday. And I'm new to the job. And yet here's what I've noticed about the people who I've had the privilege to interact with who have young children or older children. They don't take them on the journey with them, right? So we attempt to make everything perfect and hide the bad from our kids. And yet I have a unique story of youth. My parents are not that much older than me, and I have a lot of siblings. They started having kids when they were 13 and 14. So they were children raising children, right? And as a result, they never knew to like keep all the bad stuff from us. So in a lot of ways, we saw things we shouldn't, but in a lot of ways, we also got to see the growth. And my dad ended up becoming a very successful entrepreneur. And one of the gifts for me was that I got to be on the journey with him. So as he learned, I learned, right? As he would learn new concepts and as he would evolve his business and as he would do better, he would, the me that got to watch evolve too, right? I got to learn alongside of him. So take your girls on the journey with you, learn, and then tell them what you're learning, and then let them learn with you, right? There's so much. My daughter's gonna, as soon as she's, you know, old enough to not get lost in the crowd, she's gonna be at mega camp. She's gonna be at family reunion. She's coming to Quantum Leap with me. Like, she's gonna be in it. She's not gonna have a choice, right? Because I want her to learn with me, right? Because if I teach her, eventually she's gonna be like, ugh, here mom goes again. But if we learn together, it's a different experience, isn't it?
I love that. I love that, because I think that's something that I fail at. Like, I let my kids learn from me, but maybe having them be around more to hear other people teaching it. It's kind of like when they go to school and then you get the report back that like, oh, they're excellent. They listen. They're so, they clean up after themselves. And I'm like, Mike.
The wrong report card.
Right.
I love it. All right, guys, we're going to keep moving in the interest of time. So we all have something written down for get clear and get real. Yes? Say yes.
Yes.
So the purpose of these two steps is to make sure that our actions every day align with number one. It's funny because I feel like the new buzzword of this year is burnout. Like, everybody is saying that they're burned out. And I don't get it. I am not burned out. And the reason that I'm not burned out is because I believe that burnout happens when what we say we want is not in alignment with our actions. And eventually we have to come to terms with that, right? We have to come to terms with it, because what we're saying, who we're saying we are, and what we're saying we want is not in alignment with who we actually are. And as a result, it creates pressure and stress on us. But I can tell you guys, not perfectly every day. And by the way, as we said at the beginning, perfection is the lowest possible standard. You'll never achieve it. So stop that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop trying to be perfect. And yet, I know I'm not perfect every day, but I can tell you 9 days out of 10, I'm in alignment with who I'm saying I want to be. My actions are in alignment with who I'm saying I want to be. I'm not a liar, right? Because if you are, you know it. Other people might not know it. They might not know your inward dreams, but if you're day after day after day after day betraying yourself by not taking steps towards who you really want to be, your body knows, your mind knows, your soul knows, you know, right? So when someone comes to me and says, I'm really burned out, I say, well, what are you not doing what are you doing that's not in alignment with who you want to be? And that's the first place that I start. And if that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. So the step number 3 is get moving. What you want to be tomorrow, you've got to do today. If it's funny, I was asked the other day, I was on a podcast and they were like, if you could write a book, what would you title it? I would say I would have a 2-parter. My first title would be It's Your Fault. And my second title would be, you got to do the work. You can't skirt the work. You just can't. Believe me, I've tried. And every time I try to take the easy way out, every time I try to hit the easy button, and not to say that you want to do things the hard way just for the hard way's sake, but I'm saying you're going to have to do the work. Anything worth creating, you'll have to take action on. And in other words, if you haven't started, then taking action is more important than finding a better strategy. I see people all the time sitting around pontificating about the perfect business plan. And I'm like, if you had just spent all that time actually moving through it, you'd be further along, right? And not to say that you should be reckless and go about things without a plan. And yet the plan is only as good as the actions you're going to take toward it, right? I've seen people have gilded pages of business plans, beautiful business plans, and they never take action on them, which means they don't matter, which means it's just paper, right? And there's no award for creating the best plan. There's only awards for execution. And your effort will set your floor, and your strategy will set your ceiling. But your effort sets your floor. You can always come up with a better strategy, always. But your effort will set your floor. And by the way, let's not mistake motion for action. Let's not mistake motion for action. Here's what I mean by that. When someone's goal is to lose weight, motion is researching the best diet, researching the best gym, researching the best shoes. Action is going for a walk, right? Action is going to work out at the gym. Do not confuse motion for action. I see it all the time in real estate, right? I went to all these classes and I learned. I'm like, well, that's awesome. Did you do anything with it? right? This is not intended to be a passive experience. You will have to take action. It is a call to action, right? And so don't mistake motion for action. And by the way, as you cycle through these steps, the action steps become clearer. That's the trick of all of this, right? As you cycle through all of these steps, what you should do today becomes more clear as you move through it. Because the truth is, guys, it'll never be easier than it is right now. Your beliefs harden, your habits solidify, you get comfortable, and most people don't pursue their dreams because of the amount of time they think it's going to take to get there. So shouldn't you just really start now? If they feel far away, isn't today the shortest amount of time between where you are and the dream that you want to achieve, that unlived life within you? So shouldn't you just take action today? Because it'll never be closer than it is right now. And it is today, if you guys would just take action on it right now. So let's start now. I want you guys to write down for step 3, get moving, based off what we wrote down for step 1 and step 2, what is the one significant change or action you could take in order to move you forward? Make it specific. Make it specific. What is the one specific action or change or habit that you could take today in order to move you forward? Go ahead and take a minute to write it down. We're going to move through this one really fast because I don't want you to overthink it. Just write down what comes to you first. I think it was Teddy Roosevelt who said, I have a horror of words that are not translated into deeds, of speech that does not result in action. There's nothing as a leader for me that drains my energy more than people sitting around masterminding about something I know we're never going to do. So on my team, we don't do it. If we're going to go to a class, we're going to take action on it. If I'm going to go to Mega Camp, I'm going to implement something that I learned, right? I'm not going to waste my time going to something if I'm not going to do something with it. We don't have meetings about things that we're not going to take action on because it's a waste of their time. I dishonor them. I disrespect them by pontificating about something and never doing something with it. So take a minute to write down what your action step is. Take action today to start living your life on purpose. What's the one significant change, action, habit you could take today? Write it down. All right, what'd you guys write down? Yes, Brittany wrote, stop waiting for Monday or next week or January. Yeah, tomorrow is my least favorite word, right? Everyone's like, oh, we'll get it done tomorrow. I'm like, what if tomorrow doesn't come? Then we should have just gotten it done today, because we've had plenty of times that we've pushed it off to tomorrow and tomorrow blew up in our face, right? We got 15 calls about all these fires we had to put out. And here's the problem. It just doesn't get done, right? So we have a constant sense of urgency on our team on the things that matter, by the way. And this is where taking action will allow you to get better at choosing, because you can't have urgency for everything, right? You can't have urgency for everything, but you have to have it on the things that matter. In fact, we have on my Northern California team up on our office wall, we have execution is worship, right? Because I wanted a constant reminder to that team that the perfect plan doesn't matter. Going to the class doesn't matter. It's only what you do with it. So what'd you guys write down? Terry Miller said, make it happen now. Yes, love that. What'd you guys write down as your action step or your habit?
Mine is going to call one agent per day. Just start small, baby steps.
One agent per day. You don't get to leave until one agent call has been made. I love it. What else?
Don't stop till I hit my bold goal of 20 contacts per day.
Yeah, don't. Here's the cool thing. When you front load like that, we get to decide when we're going to put the football down in our day, right? So people who have come and shadowed me for the day are always floored. Like, I leave my office at like 2, 3, like I'm out, I'm done for the day, but it's because I make it count when I'm there in the morning, right? So I get those contacts in and I get the most important things done. And then once I'm done, if I'm out of energy, if my battery is depleted, then I just leave. If I've got more energy, a lot of times I'll stay and do the other things, but I get the most important things done first and then I'm out, right? So for you, James, just get those 20 contacts done and then be done, right? Give yourself permission to be done after that, because it's the most important thing that you could do. Angelo said taking action every day on lead gen. So Angela, I would just make that more specific. How many people are we going to talk to? And if you've said a million times you're going to do 20 a day and you never do it, then stop that. And don't get in the habit of saying that you're going to do something and not do it. Make it small. Do one a day, right? What else do you guys write down for your action item?
Come on, Mark. He just looked like, no, she
Pretty much
called
the same as
me.
everybody else's though. Like, I'm gonna continue to get my 20 a day even after I finish my bold.
Love it. Yeah, getting your 20 a day. Love it.
Yeah, mine is to get the contacts in, but also at later this afternoon, spend time organized. I'm one of those extremely disorganized people, and that's one of those things like, oh, I'll get to it. I'll just do this right now because it's going to be quick. Then I'll organize later. I'm block Mark. Can't do that.
Totally. And Mark, for you, it's about asking yourself, what are the important things I need to organize? Because the fact of the matter is, you're not going to go from naturally being an unorganized person to becoming a super organized person. It's just not going to happen. So what you need to identify is, what could I organize such that by organizing it would make everything else easier or unnecessary? Because if you try to flex that muscle so hard that you're becoming organized everywhere, eventually you're just going to fall off. So the best thing you could do is be organized where it counts, where it's really pulling downward on your life, right? Or on your business. Does that make sense? All right, guys, listen, the most overlooked and underappreciated strategy is patience. And nobody likes to hear that, because it's the least sexy advice that I can give. And yet it's so very true. We fight success. We really are all born and able to greatness, and all created with this phenomenal force inside of us. And everything that comes our way is so that we can grow and evolve. And if we're willing to look at it like that, if we're willing to open our hearts and our minds and see where we need to wake up, and get real, where we're resisting life and success, well, then we won't miss the opportunity to step into who we were supposed to be, into who we've always wanted to be. So the only question really we have, left to answer is, who do you want to be? And as a result of becoming that person, what might you also achieve? And remember that you have everything you need inside of you, and you in order to achieve your dreams, all you have to do is use what we learned today. Get real, get clear, get real, and get moving, and take action. It's the most important thing that you could do. And by the way, guys, you can use this everywhere and in the smallest of ways. Right before I walk into my door every single day, I ask myself, when I walk in this door, who do I want to be as a mom? Who do I want to be as a wife? Right? And when I walk in, I greet my child and I greet my husband in the way that I want to be, because make no mistake, guys, life is hard. And sometimes I get beat up in the office and I come home and I'm in a bad mood, right? I am not happy. It is not all rainbows and unicorns and roses, and every day is not perfect, and it's hard. And some days I'm tired because my kid's teething and she didn't sleep, and I can't walk into my office and lay that all out on my team, because that's not who I want to be, right? And so you can use this everywhere to check your actions before you step into it. What are your ahas from today?
I'd say your actions are the only thing that matter.
Yeah. In every capacity, everywhere in your life, right? It doesn't matter what you say to your partner. It matters what you do to your partner or your kids or your employees or your fellow agents or your clients or whatever, right? Like, you can say they're going to have this great experience working with you as an agent, but if you don't deliver, it doesn't matter, right? What are your other ahas?
I'd love
Do you
to.
have a podcast?
Oh, there we go.
Sorry. So James?
No, I said, do you have a podcast?
I don't. If you follow me on Instagram, I announce I'm on a lot of podcasts. Like, I do interviews, but honestly, I just you have to make so much content, you guys. Like, it is like, respect to the people who have podcasts. I like to teach, I like to do this, but sitting around pontificating to myself a couple times a week sounds awful. Like, it's not something I'll be doing ever. I'm happy to like be on them. I will never do one. I shouldn't say never, but as of now, no. But thank you for asking. I appreciate that. I heard another one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as a leader, in order to lead others, you have to work on yourself first.
Yeah. It's funny because I get asked when I teach Quantum Leap always what my mission is, and my mission is to be a leader worth following. And the truth is, the only way I become that is to be in alignment with what I say, because my people might not know, but I know when I'm betraying what I tell other people, right? Like, I would know if I was getting on here talking with all of you and telling you how to do these things and how to achieve greatly. And if I didn't do them, I would feel out of alignment, and no one would know but me. But eventually that adds up, right? Eventually we are out of alignment for long enough that we have to come to terms somewhere, right? I believe that that's where burnout comes from. Great aha. Give me another one.
I like just the checking in with yourself daily and asking yourself those questions. In certain areas of my life, I look back weekly, and then in other areas it's monthly, and then in other areas it's like quarterly. And it's like, asking yourself those 3 simple questions every morning and every afternoon, I think is going to keep yourself in check a lot better than waiting a whole week to make a bunch of mistakes and then looking back and finding correction.
Yes. The trick is, guys, this is actually the easier way to do it. Everyone thinks this is more work. It's not. Because think about it this way. I would rather have 365 chances to make really small changes rather than looking at my goals once a quarter and only having 4 times a year that I have to make changes, right? That's a lot. Those are bigger changes. That's heavier lifting. I just don't want to do it, right? Like, that's the secret. I'm too lazy to do this only once a quarter. I need my changes to be much, much smaller, right? I can't do it once a quarter because I won't do it, right? I just won't. My habits have solidified too much. And if I have to do that much of a heavy lifting overhaul, it's going to take too long, right? It's going to take way too long. So this allows you to make smaller micro changes so that it's not such heavy lifting. That's why I like to do it this way. Give me one more. By the way, Mindy, I feel your pain. Respect. My daughter is on the move, and it's like every single second just covered with baby.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm in a blender.
Totally. I know exactly what you feel like. She's a tornado. The kid is a tornado. She is a human tornado put here to test my resolve. That's what I'm sure of. But also the cutest thing in the world, so you can't even get mad. Give me one more aha.
What about you, Terry?
You got one.
Hello.
Stop.
Yeah, I got one. What would a successful person do?
Yeah.
You know?
Guys, this is a life-changing question for me. And it takes the pressure off of you, right? You don't need to know the answer. Your future self for sure knows the answer, right? That great leader that you aspire to be, they know everything, right? I don't know anything. So I just think about, what would she do, right? All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful. I really appreciate you guys. I've been to Pennsylvania one time, Windber, Pennsylvania, if anyone even knows where that is where my husband's dad is from. And it was so fun. I loved it. So I'm hoping to get to go back there soon. And maybe I'll get to see you guys. I'm putting my email in here. This is my phone number. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a great rest of your guys' week. Take action.
Bye, everyone.